Hello, my name is Rebecca Bruner, and I'm on the board at the Museum on Main in Pleasanton. And we're here in the museum talking with Bob Silva today, who has been one of the people who is very involved in the huge growth that Pleasanton underwent many years ago. So welcome, Bob.
I was also on the museum board.
And yes, Bob was also on the museum board at one time and president of the board, we've got to say. So, and did a lot of good things during that tenure. So anyway, Bob is, how did you get to Pleasanton, Bob? What brought you here?
Well, we got to Pleasanton because we could afford a house here and it was cheaper than Fremont.
Oh.
In 1974, we were looking for a larger home and we found a home in Pleasanton for less money than I would have had paid in Fremont.
Okay. Well, are you a California native?
Yes.
Oh.
Grew up in Los Banos, California.
Okay.
And went to Santa Clara University. From there, went to the Army, came back to Fremont, lived in Fremont until '74, and we moved to Pleasanton in 1974.
Okay. And why Pleasanton? I mean, why did you even look here, or just because the housing was less, but were there other features?
Well, when we bought the house, it was a reason why we bought it. We bought it in Pleasanton Meadows. We're at the end of a court, furthest to the east of the development at the time. Kids could walk to Fairland School, ride their bikes to Fairland School, something that doesn't happen anymore in society. But
yeah.
That was one of the principal reasons we bought the house at the location within Pleasant Meadows.
Okay.
And for 6, 7, 8 years, nothing happened beyond the end of Gulfstream and Oak Brook.
Yeah. Well, so what was your job? What did you do for a living?
Well, when I came to Pleasanton, I was working as a consulting engineer for a firm called Murray McCormick, a long-time old established civil engineering firm. And their office was originally in San Leandro and then moved to Oakland. And then they got acquired by a public company.
Okay.
Then I became Western Regional President for the public company, and then I left in '82 to join Oliver De Silva, which now is De Silva Gates Construction.
Okay. And that is based in what community?
Well, right now, the head office is in Dublin. It was in Hayward.
Okay. So what did you do in Pleasanton? What were you involved in?
Yeah, when I first, lived in Pleasanton, I was doing nothing except supporting the kids in, neighborhood swim team and soccer and all that kind of stuff.
Of course.
But in 1982, when I joined De Silva, I joined as a construction manager at Hacienda Business Park.
Oh, okay.
And stayed with De Silva for 23 years until I retired.
Had Hacienda started coming out of the ground yet in '82, or when did it come out of the ground?
It came out of the ground in '82.
Oh.
It was, the development process was underway in '80, '81, and
sure.
But they started, as we say in the business, moving dirt in early 1982.
Okay. That must have been a huge job.
It was a lot of fun.
Was it a lot of fun?
Well, it was a lot more fun than the business that I left, which was a consulting business.
Oh.
I was traveling all over the western United States between offices in Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona.
Oh.
And further back east to the offices. It was a public company. I got to be a construction engineer. I got to build things instead of see things not built or see things stopped in the political process.
Yeah. Well, and I understand that Hacienda, when it went in, so who was the real mind behind it, or were there several?
No, Joe Callahan. Who
Joe
else?
Callahan. Okay. And why do you say who else?
Well, because Joe was the dreamer. Joe was the person that looked at the opportunities for that property to become a hacienda business park. As they say in the development business, it's location is location. It's in the intersection of 580 and 680.
Yeah.
It's in a growing area. There was 800 acres that was developable. And we originally looked at it that it was going to be more, building semiconductors
Oh.
than what it turned out to be.
And why was that?
Why did it not?
Yeah.
I think the process of building semiconductors became more exported
Oh, okay.
to
Other
out of the
countries.
country. And they stayed basically in the San Jose, Silicon Valley area. They never brought any manufacturing out here. We set the project up, all the infrastructure to support manufacturing of semiconductor material.
Oh, but they just didn't
No.
come.
So that property right now is over-infrastructured.
Well, that's what I understand, that didn't Joe Callahan even put in pipes for wastewater?
Oh, yeah. We did everything.
Yeah.
The intent was to put a recycling facility on the property, and we built lines from the sewer plant back into the property, which incidentally, 10, 15 years later, is now being used
Yeah.
for purposing of moving recycled water around for irrigation and probably, but we were talking about doing a reverse osmosis treatment plant, which would use recycled water also to have 100% pure water and use water in the manufacturing and everything. So
Wow.
we were somewhat ahead of the thought process, and nothing happened with it. So we put a lot of pipes in the ground that didn't do anything
For a while.
until now.
Until now.
Until
And
now.
so it's really been a savior in the
Right.
last few years.
Yeah,
Right.
incidentally, the city went off on a mission about the time they started talking about recycling and said, well, we have to have an engineering process to see how we're going to get this recycled water from the sewer plant back into hacienda and distributed. And another engineer called up and said, hey, Bob, didn't you guys build all that already? And I called the city engineer and I said, by the way, the pipes are already in the ground. You don't need any engineers doing any work on it.
Well, that was a big savings for the
Right,
city. Yeah,
right.
yeah. So had Joe done anything before this that made you believe that he could do this big
Oh,
thing?
yeah, he did work in the Moffett Business Park and another business park in Milpitas, supporting the same type of industries, high-tech industries and so forth. So this was like the third or fourth project that he was involved in along those lines and with his partners.
And I understand it was one of the biggest ones in the state at the time that was happening.
Probably it was 800 acres. It was a little bigger than the one in San Ramon, but it also was a part of the North Pleasant Improvement District, which also included building all the infrastructure. What you see now in North Pleasanton, we rebuilt Hop Yard Road, Santa Rita Road, West Las Positas, connected West Las Positas, which wasn't connected. Took floodplain out of floodplains, and it just built all the infrastructure in North Pleasanton, basically from Valley Santa Rita or Valley Hop Yard out, plus 2 interchanges and the reservoir up above Stone Ridge.
Yeah. Wow.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So what was your actual job? What, you just managed all of the construction?
Yes. I
All of
was
the construction.
responsible for the planning and direction of the construction activities on the project.
Wow. And how many buildings are on the project?
I don't know, we started out with 5 or 6. I had nothing to do with buildings, other than making sure their parking lots got built for them.
Okay.
I was responsible for all the infrastructure, the
Oh.
streets, all the utilities, all the services, the rehab of all the existing streets, all of that stuff. I did not get involved in the building.
The building of the
construction.
building.
Right.
So they did all that, and Pleasanton didn't have to put any money into that? Into the rebuilding of these streets and these sound walls and all this?
It's all part of the North Pleasant Improvement District,
Okay.
which is paid for by the property owners within North Pleasant Improvement District boundaries. In other
Okay.
words, some of the property owners in the middle of Hacienda are paying for the bonds that were sold to do that. Plus, the rest of the district also includes the area west of Hacienda.
Okay.
That development that Reynolds and Brown did is also part of the North Pleasant Improvement District.
Okay.
And the reservoir was North Pleasant Improvement District. Getting Stone Ridge Drive, getting over or pass across 680 at Stone Ridge, all that stuff was part of the improvement district. And the Hopyard Road interchange, Santa Rita Road overpass. That was all part of the project.
So, boy, you had a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
And how long did it take to complete all this?
We were pretty well completed by 1985, 86.
Wow.
We started in 82, and it was a continuous project. And I think the last interchange or something was in the 86, 87 area.
Wow, that's a lot that was done in that time. Because I know all the streets and stuff you're talking about, that's a lot of
Right.
property to cover, yeah. Okay, and so what did you do after that?
What did I do? Well, I stayed with De Silva, obviously.
Okay.
I retired from De Silva in 2005.
Okay,
So I worked on, we did several things at De Silva. We were a general engineering contractor. We were a materials supplier. We ran quarries. We did demolition of buildings and rehabilitation. We did dirty dirt cleanup, as we called it, remediation work. And we did land development acquisition and planning.
okay. So what else did you do any other projects in Pleasanton itself?
We got a couple of small development projects up off of Ream Drive, and that
Okay.
it's just small 8, 9, or 18 and 20 lot subdivisions.
Okay.
Plus, I did all the planning for Laguna Oaks. That was one of our
Oh.
projects.
Oh, yeah.
I actually did the land planning myself on.
Oh, and that was a big project
Right.
because there's quite a few homes
Right.
in there, and that was really nicely done. You know, big lots and big homes.
Yeah, when we were doing it, I was wanting them to have trails in there, just like Pleasant Meadows has it. Several councilmen told me, now the criminals are going to jump over the fence and all that kind of stuff. Well, nobody jumped over the fence there. Nobody jumped over the fence in Pleasant Meadows either.
Not yet. But I like Pleasanton Meadows, yes, because in the back of a lot of these homes, there's a green space
Right.
that the kids can walk all the way
Oh,
to
yeah.
school. And
That's why
you
we
know,
bought there.
Yeah, it's very unique
Right.
to the rest of Pleasanton.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So, so who did you work with on some of these projects? Who were some of the people that you enjoyed working with, or some of the stories you can tell me about the Hacienda?
Well, obviously, I worked with Joe. I worked with Pat O'Brien, with Mark Sweeney. They were Callahan Sweeney. O'Brien was their development piece. I also worked with all of the Prudential people during that period of time. And, city staff, city engineers. Bissell and Carm was the civil engineers on the job.
Okay.
They were the designers. There were various contractors that we work with. Mountain Cascade, which is based in San Jose, or Livermore, is one of our major underground contractors that work for us. Very creative in how they approached it. I can't remember all of the
Yeah.
all of
so
the
many.
contractors that we work with, but many of the names and contractors you see all the time that have been doing work in the area.
I understand that you guys work together really well. I mean, and the city worked together with you well
Right.
during that whole thing. And do you envision that you could do that today? What
No.
if you, because?
No, because we don't have a can-do government in this city, though. It was how do you get something done and when can you get it done fast? I had a complete staff on the project site, city, PG&E, all of these kinds of people that we could make a decision instantly to fix something or move something or change something. So I had the city staff out there with me the whole time.
Oh,
So, and Joe Elliott was the city engineer at the time. The city manager wanted to make things. The council wanted things to
wanted
happen.
things to get done.
Right.
And so nowadays, just with our city council, or are you just saying government the way it is now?
Government the way it is. I mean, for example, I served on the Pleasanton Clippy Golf Course Committee for the city
Okay,
during all the development. It took us 8 years to get a permit to get the
Yeah.
construction done. You couldn't do that today. In the atmosphere and the regulatory agencies
even
that are involved.
Calippe you couldn't do today.
I had to be very tough.
Oh.
We built Calliope, and we built Poppy Ridge and Wente, and the other one out there, Ruby Hill, golf courses, all at the same time. In a period from 1993 to 96. 3 of those were built. Those 3 were built, and Clippy didn't come along until 2006. So 10 years later, before we got that one done.
Yeah,
And it's a regulatory and, the whole environmental survey. You're looking for every bug and bee and bush and plant that you can find. The people are looking for them
Right.
to stop projects.
yeah. And so it must be difficult for the money people nowadays as well, because if it takes a project 8 years, you've got money out there for 8 years versus, I
That's
mean, look what
correct.
you did to Hacienda.
That's correct.
Yeah, in 8
Hacienda
years.
went pretty fast. Our first and second phases were done in a matter of 6 years or so. Now, that doesn't mean that all the parcels were developed.
Right.
That was the infrastructure was in, the main buildings were in, the big 5-story building in the center of the park, and some of them on the front end next to Hop Yard Road. Those office buildings were in, some on West Los Positos. Well, a lot of empty land. There's still a lot of empty land out there.
Yeah,
And at the time, it was said that no houses are ever going to be built there. Well, there have been a lot of houses built in Hacienda Business Park these days.
what do you think about that?
I think it's good. I don't have any objection to the houses being built.
Okay.
I think it means it meets the needs, and there were a lot of projects that came through in the last the prior housing cycle
Right,
that were built in Hacienda. Some not very nice apartment projects, very exclusive, nice
yeah.
places to live next to BART and so forth.
Yeah.
So,
But it's good for people who work in the park or people who need to commute to be near BART. And
Right.
yeah, they were thinking of that kind of thing. Yeah,
well, that's, again, BART came after we had all the dreams of Hacienda. So BART was built and extended out here while we were under construction or almost at the end of the Hacienda work.
that must have really helped the project though, to have BART here
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, right.
Yeah. What do you think about how Dublin has built up compared to Pleasanton?
I have no objection on what's been done in Dublin. There is a fear in the valley here that anything other than a single-family home is a bad home.
Oh,
And there's some very nice homes, townhouses and homes and apartments in the Dublin area. And I think they've done a good job. They've done an excellent job with their parks in the Central Park. I think in general, Dublin's done a good job.
good, good. Because from an engineer's standpoint and what you did with Hacienda,
Right.
I appreciate your opinion about how they
Right.
did
No,
it.
I think they've done an excellent job.
Yeah. They've put a lot of parks in too, as we did.
Right.
Which is really,
And we've done a lot of parks in Pleasanton.
yeah,
We got them all over the place. That's what draws people to Pleasant. We have good schools, we have good parks, we have good services. Why wouldn't you want to live here? Schools is a big driving thing right now. That's why
Yes.
our school districts, our elementary schools are in the top 10 in the county. Fairlands is the number one elementary school in the county, and number 10 in the state.
yeah. I mean,
And that's
yeah.
why people want to move here.
And the other thing is our downtown and our, I think, community feel that we have, because we do have a downtown. Don't you think that the farmers markets, the music on Friday nights, the eating downtown can also bring camaraderie.
It's a very nice area. It's not something that's been part of my life.
Okay,
I'm not a big downtown person from a point of view of coming to farmer's market or
Yeah.
coming to the concerts in the park.
Yeah.
I'm more toned to Dublin than I have to downtown
That's true.
Pleasant.
That's true.
That's a personal thing.
uh-huh,
I think that they've done a good job on downtown. Maybe took too long on some of this last planning process. And some of the things aren't going to happen. I think the planners get a little carried away with what they're doing in other communities, and we must do that here.
Oh,
But
kinda
look at the
keeping up
number of vacant buildings in downtown.
yes. Yeah, and having like Christensen's go out,
Right.
and they'd been there for 100 years or
Right.
something, yeah. But it's a big building to take over.
You see the restaurants go in and they last about 6 or 8 months, and the good ones stay and the bad ones leave.
Right.
Or not take bad, ones that don't provide the services to the potential customers or what the customers want.
Yeah. So, so in the time you were with De Silva, though, you were involved in community things too. Like you said, you were involved in the chamber, and you were involved on the board here. And were there other things that you were
I
involved
was
in?
on the Park and Rec Commission for 8 years.
Okay.
I was on 4 general plan review committees. I served on the first go-around of the East Pleasant Specific Plan work. Served on a housing element project for the city. I've done a lot of things in the community.
Yeah.
Plus, supported all the sports teams and my many hours with the Foothill High School marching band.
Oh, what do you do with them?
Well, my oldest daughter went to Foothill at 86.
Okay.
Another one went in 89, another one went in 83. Okay, so I had 3 kids all in the band. I've been up and down the state driving a band truck. I've been to band reviews all over the state. And I stayed working with the band until Bob Moorfield retired. We both went out the same year. I used to help do the band review every year, get our trailers from De Silva over here to be the reviewing stand, all that kind of stuff. So I stayed working with the band for 20, 25 years, something like that.
Were you in the band when you were in school?
Yeah, I was a drum major at Los Meadows High School.
Oh, okay.
Marching band.
Okay. How about the kids? What did they play in the band? Your kids?
The 2 girls did not play any instruments.
Oh.
Stephen was a drummer,
Okay.
And then when he graduated from here, he went to the U.S. Naval Academy, was in the Naval Academy Drum and Bugle Corps,
Oh,
and was a commander of the Drum and Bugle Corps at the Naval Academy his senior year.
oh, that's impressive. Yeah. But so you were a drum major. I was in the band, and the drum major has quite a role to play.
Well, yeah, you try to keep everybody in line and hope that they march
Yes.
in step.
Yeah.
And I remember a couple of parades. We used to go to San Francisco and march in the St. Patrick's Day parade in San Francisco all the time.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, who are some characters, some people in Pleasanton that you have really enjoyed meeting over the years?
Well, I think the people, one of my good friends, Brad Hirsch, so Pete McDonald, Brad, Pat O'Brien, the people that I work with, a lot of the chamber people that I've worked over the years. I would say Ed Kenny. Ed Kenny got me involved in the museum. Ed told me in 2005, Bob, you're now retired. Get down there and get on the board. I'm telling you, that's what you have to do.
But that wasn't the year you came, was it?
Pardon?
Was it in 2005? Is that when you came? Okay. Because Ed got me involved in the board too. I think Ed got a lot of people involved in the museum.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he was a great individual for the community, a great leader in the community. He and Ken Mercer were just, dynamite about how this community got built the way it is. And that's why I get back to the can-do stuff.
Yeah.
There was never a can't do. And in my vocabulary, there's no such word as can't.
Okay.
There's only can. It just costs money.
And all these guys were kind of the same.
Yes.
And you guys kind of had a informal kind of club, or understanding, how to work together. Because I understand that that's how our chamber got built, was by a group of men just putting materials and money together and just doing it, not going to the city.
Well, I can't.
Oh, was that before your time?
That's before my time. So
okay.
I did serve as chairman of the chamber board in 94, 95, somewhere in that thing.
Okay.
That and Rotary, and I was 94 celebration. I was doing Rotary stuff and chamber stuff at the same time.
Yeah. So
actually, the first day we came to Pleasanton to buy a house was the first day of the Good Time Parade.
Oh, so talk about the Good Time Parade. We haven't heard anything about that yet in my interview. So, yeah. Do you have some stories you can tell about that?
No, I was just an observer
Okay.
that day. When we came back in 94 and the big celebration and everything, I got involved in that with Brad and, trying to put everything together, re-celebrate, bring back memories of what went on, many years earlier. And I think everybody had a good time.
Because from what I understand, wasn't Ed kind of involved with the Good Time Parades?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. As the announcer? Or,
yes,
yeah.
he is as the announcer, the whole thing.
Okay. And that went on for years, I think, every year that they
Well,
had.
there were several years, and then it sort of disappeared. And then we brought it back for the
centennial.
celebration.
Okay. All right. What other things do you think in Pleasanton have been good things that have really helped the community?
Well, I think it's an excellent community to raise children.
Okay.
And it's just a good place, safe place to live.
Yeah.
And it's easily accessible. I'll go back to my 685, 84 selection. You can, get to it easy and get out of town easy, and you got a train coming through. I think my dream long term is you there's an ability eventually to connect this area to the peninsula via the old Dumbarton Railroad Bridge.
Oh,
Facebook was doing a bunch of work on that because they were located right at the end of that line.
right.
That's why I think we could do a lot more things in the community. That's why on the Fair Board, I've been a pusher of upgrading, developing as an entertainment center. It's not just a county fair.
Yes.
That's 20 days a year.
Yeah. You've got a whole
You
lot of other days.
operate
Yeah.
365 over there at a facility that has the ability to continue to be an entertainment center, a cultural center, and with our new farm project that we're working on, I moved from the Fair Board to the Foundation Board this last year, so.
Okay, because you were on the Fair Board for quite a while.
12 years.
Okay, what is the Foundation Board? And
So-
what is the farm project that you've got going?
You haven't been reading the newspaper, have you?
I have, but I want our people to know.
One of the projects that the Fair Association decided to put together is an educational farm, patterned after something that Jerome worked on down at Orange County Fairgrounds.
Okay,
In other words, you have animals there, you have all kinds of different kind of agricultural stuff, how things grow, so forth. The idea is you bring kids in from schools all over Alameda County. You bring them in for a day at the farm and they learn agriculture.
yeah,
They learn what it is. We have a 2-acre site set up for that, right, if you know where the pig races go.
Yep.
That's the area, basic area. The pig races can happen.
Still can happen,
Within
okay.
the boundary of the farm project. It will include a barn, a stable area, it'll be classroom buildings for education, a remodeling of that, you know, where the big
Yeah.
picnic barn is there.
yeah,
That gets all remodeled. And then a grass area between it, online with that, another stage area, an area that you could do public dinners,
oh,
entertainment, all that kind of stuff. That's the last phase of the project. First phase is building the barns and getting the first part of the animal stuff done.
okay. And is it difficult to do things at the fair as well? I know, it's the fair, property, and it's county.
Right.
But do you still have to jump through a lot of hoops, or can you do more on your land that?
No,
want to
we're
do?
pretty much, we're responsible. The Fair Association
Okay,
has a contract with the county to operate that property at no cost to the county.
yeah,
So everything that's done there is the outlook of how do we improve the facility. We're in charge of, I'm not on the board anymore,
yeah,
but we're
you
in
were,
charge
yeah.
of maintenance of all the facilities. The county owns everything.
But they don't take care of anything.
No, that's the
Yeah.
Fair Association's so all the maintenance of that property is the responsibility of the association under contract as agent for the county.
Yeah. And when did that kind of come into being? From the very beginning of the fair grounds, or is that something that came in later?
Actually, that contract, the first contract like that was back in 1965.
Oh, okay.
The Fair Association was formed in 1939. And the association was moving along, they had 80 members on the board, and they had to come up with the money to run the fair. So somewhere in the early mid-40s, except during the war, county, they were doing things, the county got more involved, the county was doing some financing, and then they get to the point of saying, first the association bought the land from McKinsey, who owned the land,
Okay.
and sold it to the county, the first part of the
Oh,
property to the
okay.
county. And then somewhere in the 50s, in that period of time, county said, you guys, the associate, you take over running this place. We don't want to be involved in this operation.
Okay.
And so 65, I think, was the time that the first contract like that was put together. It's still together now.
And is that when, what I'm so impressed with is that there's almost always something going on.
Right.
At least every weekend there.
Right.
And you go to many fairgrounds in many other states, and they sit there vacant until the fair comes.
Right.
And so I was very impressed with that. So is that kind of when that kind of stuff started happening in 65?
Well, it's been growing. Rick Pickering took over as general manager in 98.
Okay.
The fair was sort of moving along and a few other activities. And he came from Orange County originally. Rick was executive or CEO from 98 to 13, and then Jerome came in. He also came from the Orange County Fairgrounds and grew up in the fair business.
Oh, okay.
And we have to think it's not a fair, it's an entertainment. We're in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
We're in the entertainment business. We're in the property management business. We're in the land planning business.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. We're in the financial management business. All of that is the responsibility of the Fair Association.
Wow.
We report to the county every year. We have a relationship between the county manager and Jerome and everything. So there's a good relationship between the county staff and but they don't want to be involved if they don't have to be involved.
Okay. Can I ask how the financials go?
What?
How the financials work? I mean, at the end of the year, is the fair board usually in the black?
Yes.
Okay.
We better be.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, right now it's about a $28 million a year operation.
Wow. Wow.
And responsible for generating that $28 million is the fair staff.
Yeah.
Under Jerome and Angel and the rest of the people over there.
Okay. Yeah.
It's most people say Fairgrounds is probably one of the best maintained in the state because it's a county fairgrounds and the property is not owned by the state of California. It's an independent board of directors, some appointed by the Supes, the rest of them elected by the rest of the board. In fact, there's 3 seats coming up. They just put an advertisement out for 3 openings on the board, asking people that want to get involved in it. Try to involve people with experience, geographic location in the county, and a desire to do it and to spend the time working on it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it's amazing. So have you seen over the years that it's gotten more and more use all the time, that you're bringing in more and more things that people are interested in, like some of these night markets and, at Halloween.
Well, the night market, the Scottish games, the good guys, of those things. The marketing staff is out there looking for people all the time.
How did you get the Scottish games? How did they get those here?
Scottish games were operating up in Sonoma, up in Santa Rosa, at the fairgrounds in Sonoma. In 1994, they went to work to get them here and rounded them up and moved them to Pleasanton in 1995, and they've been here ever since.
And they're very well attended.
Right. 2 days in Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
And good guys have put on 3 or 4 shows a year. Mm-hmm. Night Market does 3 right now. They get about 25,000, 30,000 people a day to come to the Night Market.
And then they've got the dog shows and the cat shows and the bird shows and it just
bathtubs and hot tubs.
Oh yeah, and then the home shows and
all that kind of stuff, plus corporate events. Have the capability of doing a major corporate event there, food services, everything within the fairgrounds.
Yeah. Well, and this idea of the farm thing, I think, is wonderful because we live in an area that's getting so urban, that many of the children are not going to get that
Yeah,
rural
they don't know where milk
experience.
comes from.
Okay,
It comes in the grocery store.
not out of a carton?
Right.
Okay, so it sounds like you really enjoyed your
Oh,
experience on
yeah,
the
I
board.
really enjoyed working.
Yeah.
That's, I will never say that I'm not part of the fairgrounds or the fairgrounds operation, because it's more than a fair.
Yes,
It's more, and it's more there can be as we develop the entertainment components, that connection to downtown Pleasanton is also there. You know, we got all kinds of restaurants, you got all kinds of people coming into town. If we want to do some improvements to the amphitheater, bring everything up to a new scale, and that brings more people into the community, more people come in and spend money in Pleasanton as well as the fairground.
staying in hotels, eating downtown, like you say,
right,
the whole thing.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you had to wrap up what you liked most about your life, or what you felt was most important about what are the things you did in life, what would be your important points?
Well, the important point is my family. And the success, number
Yeah.
one is family, and the success of all my kids and grandkids
Okay.
as I look at how they move through their professional careers. I've got my oldest daughter, Carolyn, graduated from Santa Clara with a degree in engineering. She's now the executive director of Petrosi Foundation.
So she took after you.
Peggy's a teacher, and she lives in France. Stephen lives in Colorado. He went to Naval Academy. Peggy went to Rutgers. Both of them, two of them went to Santa Clara,
Yeah.
and then on to graduate school. Carolyn went to Santa Clara, the MBA program. Peggy went to Rutgers in education. She's a teacher. And Steve went to Naval Academy, and he's been involved in the food business, all kinds of different things after he got out of the Navy. He worked with Frito-Lay for a while, and then a couple at the corporate level, so
Yeah. How many grandchildren do you have?
7.
Okay. Do many live around here, or?
Yeah, well, none of them around here anymore. Oldest one is Caitlin. She lives in Orange County. She's a pediatric oncology nurse
Wow.
at Orange County Children's Hospital. Her husband works for Amazon.
Okay.
Number 2 grandchild is, let's see, I gotta get them all on the right line.
Yeah.
Is Curtis. Curtis is Carolyn's son. He's a structural engineer. He went to Cal as master's in structure. He and Kristen are up in Vancouver. She's working on her PhD on civil engineering, and he's worked for Dagan Kolb in the structural engineering business, mainly on retrofit of hospitals.
Oh, okay.
And so the next one is Kylin. She's she went to University of Hawaii. She's starting a job in marketing for a firm in Austin, Texas. Therese works in lives in France. She's working in sort of a corporate marketing program. And she's very successful, went to University of Montreal, and then got the French system is a little different than the U.S. system. When you say got a master's degree, or bachelor's degree, they don't call it that over there. The twins are fitted up their last year in college. JP probably be a mechanical engineer. Mary Louise, I don't know what she's going to be.
Okay.
But she's big into lasers and stuff. She just did an internship at the Livermore Lab for 6 months, so she's pretty good. And Joe's a sophomore at Princeton. He's our philosophical guy. He's majoring in classics at Princeton.
Oh, okay. Everybody else took the engineering kind of routes, and
Yeah,
or a lot of them did,
and
you know, and
I
yeah,
got two accountants. Marty's an accountant.
Okay.
Chris Siegfried is an accountant.
yeah.
I got lawyer nephews,
Well, that's good.
lawyer,
In case you
doctor,
need anybody, yeah.
right? All
Yeah.
my cousins and nephews and stuff are hanging around, and lawyers and engineers,
Yeah, yeah.
accountants.
Well, besides your family being number one, and yeah, and that's so important that it is. What would you say is your next, you know, if you had to tell somebody today what you were most proud of in your life about what you did, family, and then what?
I would say my work in Pleasanton on Hacienda,
Okay.
and being able to build something within our community. The first years after college, it was Army, and then it was Alameda County Water District, and then a sanitary district, and then construction management or a testing and inspection firm, and then a consulting engineering firm. That's all. That's design. A lot of it. I moved into the management side. I babysitting office managers and
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. I really got involved in Hacienda, and I was able to do something in the community I live in.
Yeah, in your own.
Because I was out all the time. I was on an airplane going all over the place.
Yeah, in your own. So it made it more of your home, I would guess.
Right.
Yeah, doing that.
And then doing stuff in Pleasant, being involved in the city and the community.
Yeah.
Well, I've worked on projects outside of the community. What goes on in this community is important to me, and how a community shapes up and how it progresses.
So how did you get on the fair board? What made you get onto that?
What made me get on the fair board? Well, Pat O'Brien and Tony Varney said there'd be a good idea that you get an application.
Everybody
Just like
gives you, yeah, like Ed Kinney.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was looking for something to do. I had just left this board.
Oh, okay.
So 08, 09, I left this
Okay.
board. And I saw an advertisement for, they were looking for some directors. And that's when I asked Tony and Pat, and they said, get an application in. So 210, I went on the board, and
Okay.
I've served until this for 12 years.
Well, yeah, and it does help you keep in touch with your community, getting involved in different things like you've done. I
Right.
mean, and make a difference in the community.
Yeah.
So if you look back on Pleasanton today, looking back, is there anything that you would change that has been done over the years? Is there anything you wish would have been done differently or wouldn't have been done, or?
Well, no, I think the community has evolved as a community very successfully. I sometimes wish the community were more welcoming
Okay.
to new people coming into the community.
And you feel like it isn't because,
Well, it's too late now because the demographics of this community has changed substantially. That's hard for some people to accept,
yes, yeah,
but it has changed, and changed to the good, especially in the education end. The people that have moved into this community, Southeast Asian people, the highly educated, schools are the major thing. They're driving the stuff at the schools right now.
yes, yeah. So you see that as a real positive. Yeah,
Yes,
you're right.
absolutely
that
positive.
some of the old timers, yeah.
Right.
You know, it's different for them, and so they. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. But you're more of a forward thinker in.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to think
Like you
10,
said.
15 years out in front.
Yeah, it can, not.
And I don't think I'm going to get 15 years out in front. I'd probably be 99 years old if I was 15 years out in front.
Well, you might, you never know nowadays.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And is there anybody else you'd like to talk about, or anything else you'd like to say before we
No,
wrap up?
I'm basically, I'm a sports fan.
Okay,
So sports have been a big part in our family. So if you aren't going to the 49ers, the Giants, or the Warriors, or the Sharks, or I'm a sports fan. The whole family is built on sports. I grew up in a family that was Stanford Santa Clara football. My uncles were that way.
Yeah.
I went to my first 49er game in Kezar Stadium in 1948 with my dad. I've been a season ticket holder with the 49ers since 1965.
Wow.
So sports and going to sporting events and supporting sports of the kids, sports is it.
And we have a lot of it here.
Right. It's not, a lot of people are, cocktail party circuit kind of stuff. That's not us. That's not the family. We're a family and vacations in the mountains. And after I retired, we spent a lot of time driving around all over trying to visit national parks all over the U.S. A lot of hours behind the wheel of a car.
And so there are some people, there's a lot of stuff out there about leaving California and going elsewhere and where would you go and all that, Would you ever leave?
No. I was born here. Why would I leave?
Yeah.
I may not like the way things operate in the state, but I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. In other states, who knows how they operate too. I mean, I'm sure there's things we wouldn't like there, but
Right.
There's so many opportunities here,
Right.
and so much diversity. You can get to the ocean, you can get to the mountains, it's just a beautiful.
Right. Why would you move someplace
Yeah.
else?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. So, all right, Bob. Well, we've certainly enjoyed interviewing you today. And, before we go, okay, Oakland A's, what about them?
The A's?
Leaving.
Well, I think the whole A's management has been screwed up, but I hate to see them leave. The Raiders didn't need to leave either, but they did because of Oakland and the politics of Oakland.
So again, maybe in the old days, in the
Right.
80s, you guys could have made it work, where nowadays it takes so much more to make things work. No?
But I don't know about that with respect to professional sports and that kind of stuff. There is so much progressivism in society today and so much division on stuff. Everybody looking for something to satisfy their cause or whatever. There are those that think professional sports are just a waste of money and could be spent on something else. But there's a lot of people disagree on that. Heck, my granddaughter came from France and sat in the top row of Levi's Stadium to watch Taylor Swift in a concert.
She came with the Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And we have the ability to see so much kinds of entertainment in that, and that's multicultural entertainment. All the other pouffon just goes out of the way when it gets into entertainment and sports.
Yeah. I agree. And I do think the multicultural experiences are so great. And again, I think the fairground has they have Hawaiian days where they have the hula dancing. They just bring in all the different cultures as much as they can.
That's correct.
In different things. And it's so inclusive.
Come on in, I say.
Yep.
We'll provide you a facility. Come in and have a party.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's great.
You might pay while you do that.
You have to pay while you do it. It's not cheap, but you can do it.
Right.
Well, thank you, Bob. It was
You're welcome.
great. We really appreciated this information, especially about the fair, because I wanted to get information on the fair board and stuff from you, because I knew you'd been on that for some time. And so that's great to hear how it operates. And
Yeah, the to me, the fair is an asset to the community of Pleasanton.
Yes.
And how do we get more connectivity to understand that we're an entertainment center here? We're not just a farmer's market on Saturday morning.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Bob, very
You're
much.
welcome.